just so we can get a kind of a time perspective on it. About what date did she begin her hair care business? Like what year did she start rather?
So she started making the products around like 1902. So
Okay.
early 1900s, she started making a lot of things. Well, she was doing things in the kitchen in like the late 1890s. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But officially, like we can say 1902 was more official, because she was in the St. Louis World Fair, the 1904 World Fair, and that's where she showcased a lot of her stuff for the first time.
Hmm.
And so since then, she was selling products, marketing products, hiring people to sell products, and then she built her school. But okay, so we say the school is worth a certain amount. It's worth $500,000. Okay, $550,000. Great. So then you can then include the annex for the garage. You can include a hospital, a laundry unit, a seamstress to make the outfits and the uniforms for everybody. And then you have a whole theater for performances so
Right.
that we can have entertainment. So at the end of the day, when the building is that much plus all the extra, by 1918, you're going to tell me that you're doubting a million, even though half her buildings were burned down by Jewish people. She even had to get rescued out of her own home because
Okay.
people tried to burn her out of her own home.
See, I didn't know, but I'm always saying because I've heard a lot of stories throughout history. So my saying is, if you build it, you must protect it, especially for us as Black people. So I didn't know that the buildings were burnt down by Jewish people. Wow.
Yes, the buildings were burned down, and she had to escape overnight at one point. She had to pack up 150 people from St. Louis, bus them to Chicago, and start over. You know what I mean? Like, people just don't do that. And mind you, just like how everyone thought she was born in 1869, they're also thinking she's like 8 years older than what she really is. So
Hmm.
no, you're not taking directions from a 40 or 30-year-old woman. You're taking directions from a 25-year-old, 35-year-old woman.
Wow.
So do you see the perspective? Like,
Hmm.
I'm I'm over here, but because by 1907, she would have just turned, what is that, 30? Yes, because she was born in 77, 87, 90, right?
Hmm.
So by 30, you're on a huge platform selling all these things. You have all these people doing all this stuff. By 40, you're building the buildings, okay?
Right.
And then there's a huge discrepancy now because once you have buildings, once you have masses of students, now you have people coming after you. But see,
Yes.
what I don't want people to get confused is my story is never about just one Black woman. Because when we pull out my book, when you see my receipts, when you see, and it's not even about my receipts, it's all public knowledge. I'm just doing
Hmm.
the research.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, when you see the court records of the countless women that she went to court with, the company she went to court with, you know what I mean? I even saw
Hmm.
a court case with P&G. You know what I mean? Everybody knows P&G. Everybody uses P&G products. Everybody
Right.
heard of them.
Right.
She even had a whole thing with some of her soaps. So it's like at the end of the day, she went to war with the world. And that's the power that I want people to respect about her story. It's not about some back and forth, who was first, who was second, who was third. It doesn't matter. She laid out a blueprint and pioneered something for the world. She went to Europe to find that hot comb, widen the tooth a little bit, patent that first hot comb. She did something
Wow.
for our people. So while everyone likes to talk about first, second, third, last, I feel you. You know what I mean? Of course, you already know I stand at the top with my aunt, but that's not the focus of the story, and that's my focus of the story, is that she broke molds and she just overcame the unthinkable. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Any problem that was presented, she knew how to conquer it. And that's what's powerful, because at 25, at 35, at 45, when you have not only, a whole other race of people attacking you, when you have your own people attacking
Yeah.
you, when you have your husband blackmailing you, come
Wow.
on now.
So okay, so because I knew that she had to copyright some of her products because of people trying to steal her stuff. Now, the information I had didn't really get specific on who these individuals were. I know the the way I presented it, some people just made up stories like I was trying to say Madam C.J. Walker. But so you were saying it was a whole plethora of people who was coming
Yes.
after her products that she had to protect it from.
Yes, and this is so just to give you guys like a perspective, right? Because more people can, when you correlate it with like maybe like the music industry, think about how common of a beat or a song you hear and how you hear about somebody going to war or a lawsuit or something because it's too similar.
Mm-hmm.
So back in that time period, when you're doing things like that, it's like she's the only one you can be copying from. So yes, she went to war with the world because no one else is doing it how she was doing it. And she had a seal. She did. She had a
Mm-hmm.
coral seal so that you knew if you purchased a canister, because that's the other thing too. It wasn't just about people using the products. Some people just wanted to use the canisters and put
Right.
their products in the canister because they knew that that nicer canister would sell for more than the cheaper canister they would get.
Right. Right.
And so that's a different perspective too. Sometimes it's not always about the formula, it's the packaging too that they'll always try to take. So she has to fight both sides. And so it's the fact that she kept conquering and she was classy about it. And one thing that people always say is you never saw, she always had a poker face. You never saw the emotion. She was
Mm-hmm.
fighting through a divorce with her husband and you wouldn't know. If she was uncomfortable in a room, she would stand up, she would walk out, she would leave.
Mm-hmm.
But that was about it. Like that was as dramatic as it got. She's not making a scene. She doesn't cause discomfort or friction. She's very methodical with her words, and she doesn't take a lot of
Right.
shit. Because she's a Leo, mind you. Don't
Right.
don't underestimate her. She is a Leo.
Uh-huh.
Okay, August 9th, honey. All right. So we're not
Yes,
gonna do
ma'am.
that. But it's at the end of the day, as a black woman, I'm motivated because if she could build the empire she built, I'm already just excited for what I am going to do because I follow just like her. I love to write. I'm into chemistry. I love
That's good.
chemistry. I make products. I'm gonna start school to do dermatology when I finish my last semester at Howard. So I love skin. I love hair. I love all of it. And so
That's
to
great.
to feel like that's also a part of my journey is very humbling. And so being able to tell her story, I'm going to correct her story. I'm going to live, this chapter is going to be revolved around her and uplifting her. But once I'm ready to be, Dr. Turnbo with my own practice and I have my products and I'm treating my people, and people ask me about Annie Malone, I'm be like, did you
Yes.
buy a book?
Yes.
Did you call somebody? Because I want people to know like there's many books. Like I have a couple right here. Like my cousin wrote this book, and then this is
Mm-hmm.
another book by John Whitfield, great author. Um and there's a lot of great information out there about her. And so at the end of the day, even though my book will come out later this year, my book is not out yet. I want people to know that you will always be able to find the correct content, but are you willing to accept it? Are
Right.
you willing to receive? Okay.
Right.
Because that's the next frustrating thing when I present something new. Because one thing that people, don't know that's very challenging for me is like I'm kind of rewriting history right now. I'm making a lot of people change their textbooks and
Mm-hmm.
and 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 kind of figure some things out. It's a lot. I'm challenging a whole series based on a national or worldwide platform, because you got their perspective is what's deemed as accurate, but I'm here to say, well, I don't know if I would agree with that because even in my perspective, I would have done better due diligence to Madam T.J. Walker because I feel like she even accomplished more in her lifetime than just bickered with my aunt.
Exactly.
If if you want to be honest, I'm not even here to say it's anybody's fault. I just feel like the writers, and that's what I go for because I have had communications with Madam Walker's granddaughter, Lilia Bundles, and even though she does feel her own perspective and her own opinion, she didn't want the forefront of the movie to